Hi everyone, welcome to VRC with Gaurav. In this video today, we are going to take a look at CAT 2023, the third slot, evening slots, all verbal ability questions. Okay, as you guys might already be aware, that the first 16 questions are for the RCs and the rest 8 questions from 17 to 24 are dedicated to verbal ability questions. Without any delay, let's get started. If you are new to the channel, this is a very brief bio of mine. I run an institute known as Bell the Cat. I have been coaching aspirants in VRC and in their GDPI journey for quite some time now. If you'd like to know more about me, you can visit the website bellthecat.co.in or reach out to me on this mail ID or directly on this contact number as well. Okay, thanks a lot. Let's get started. Now, coming to the summary questions, we'll do the summary questions first, then we'll move on to Parajumble, then odd one out, and then at the end, the fill in the blanks type question. Okay, I'm not sure whether we should call it as fill in the blanks, but anyway. Speaking about the entire verbal ability section, actually for this particular slot, I think it is very easy. Okay, uh, and this is just for comparison basis compared to slot 1 and slot 2 ka verbal ability. Slot 3 ka VA questions very easy comparatively. Okay, especially the summary, odd one out, parajumbles, all these three categories. The 6 questions very doable. Uh, the fill in the blanks on the placing of the sentence in the appropriate place in the paragraph, that one was a bit challenging slightly, but okay, we'll see when we go to the question. Now, as far as solving the questions is concerned, what you can do is you can either go to the timestamp directly, which I put in the description box, solve all the questions in one go, or you may walk with me through the video, pause the video, solve the questions, then play it again, check the explanation, the right answer, then move on to the next one with me, and so on and so forth till the last question. Anyway, it's your choice. Chalo, let's get started. Assuming that you have solved the questions, this particular question, you have solved it, jot down the answer. Let's see what the paragraph actually talks about. Okay. So the first sentence actually starts about by saying, "यार देखो यार समाज का expectation, man, it is so heavy. Carrying the expectation of the society around it is very bothersome, very painful." Okay, cool. Then what specifically about the society does the author want to talk about, want to comment on? So the comment is regarding perfectionism, or how well you come across in the society. So author is taking a look at situation which was approximately 70 years ago and compared vis-a-vis today. So 1950s mein, what was deemed as perfectionism? What was the paragon of perfection? Especially American. If you're an American in context, then if you take a look at the advertising images from that time, it's typically shows a very healthy, beautiful white American family, husband hai, wife hai, एक दो चार बच्चे hai, whatever. So उस जमाने में perfectionism meant seamlessly conforming to values, जो existing values, patterns, behaviors, tradition है समाज में, आप जितना उनसे जुड़कर चलते हो उतना आप perfectionism के करीब हो. That was the opinion. ठीक है. So I'll repeat in English. Back in 1950s American context, perfectionist or perfectionism was that person or that family which stayed as close as possible to the established values and beliefs of that time. So maybe the values and beliefs of that time were that, yeah, man, you are a man, you should marry, you should have a healthy, beautiful family, healthy children, they should get education, all that stuff. Like, so this was the picture back in 1950s. That you confirm, that you stick to, that you follow the established values and norms of the society. Whereas in contrast, what is the situation today? Let's use a different color for that. Author says, but today situation is very different. Okay, perfectionists of today, they are appreciated, or they are noticed not by how strictly or how closely they are following society ke norms and values, but rather how wide, how off they are straying from it, how strongly they can stand out. ठीक है कि that समाज में maybe the current values are कि अच्छा ठीक है आपने पढ़ाई करनी चाहिए, फिर ग्रेजुएशन करना चाहिए, फिर do your post graduation, then have a well settled career and all. But no, today's perfectionist might be noticed because of something very off track that they do. Maybe they dropped out in school, started off something of their own, and maybe they are succeeding today. So this goes very opposite to what is the established norm. And when they go beyond the established norms, when they follow their own particular style, dump the traditions, maybe then they get attention from the society. Okay. So the paragraph is very straightforward. It simply talks about the contrast in perfectionism or the approach of perfectionist. Back in 1950s, आप कितना चिपक के चल रहे हो एस्टैब्लिश्ड वैल्यूज को, उतना बढ़िया है। आज कोई कितना भटक कर काम करके दिखा रहा है, कितना हटके काम करके दिखाता है, वो नोटिस में आता है। दैट गाय इज व्यूड फ्रॉम द परफेक्शनिस्ट लेंथ। ओके, ठीक है, कूल। सो विच ऑप्शन रिफ्लेक्ट्स दिस? ओनली एंड ओनली ऑप्शन ए डज दैट जॉब वेल of showing the contrast 70 years ago vis-a-vis today. ठीक है, the pressure to appear perfect, it has evolved over time. Very good usage of words. कैसे बदला है? From one of conformism to one of non-conformism. Conformism, conform. Okay, pronunciation is a bit tricky of this meaning of this word. इसका मीनिंग ये होता है कि आप कितना लॉयली, कितना स्टिक करके चल रहे हो एस्टैब्लिश्ड प्रैक्टिस को या एस्टैब्लिश्ड रूल को, व्हाटएवर। ठीक है, so that is meant by conform, not to be confused with, confirm। ठीक है, ये एक completely different word है। Please do not get confused with this. This is a proper word in its own right. Rest of the three options, they are actually very bad. You should be able to reject them if you are a half decent aspirant. Still, if you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Okay. Moving to the second summary questions now. अच्छा है ये, थोड़ा सा ऑप्शंस में 19-20 मुझे लगा एक जगह पे, बट एनीवे लेट्स डिस्कस। The paragraph is very straightforward, EVS type लगता है। There is some particular island, we are not given name of the island, we only have the island। ठीक है, so what is happening over this? Apparently some birds which were in danger till some time back, they are now back in the game। They are now, maybe the ecosystem is better now। Until recently they were threatened because of XYZ reasons, but now life for these birds is improving। And then the author goes on to talk about specific examples like कि कोई तो bird है by the name of Antarctic prions, then you have white-headed petrels, blah blah blah। One thing to keep in mind, ठीक है, that in an answer option we do not mention specific examples like this। ठीक है, अब यहाँ पर तो कोई भी ऑप्शन ऐसा नहीं है, बट इमेजिन करो अगर समझो if there had been some answer option E which said that life for birds like, और फिर ये नाम दे देता एंटार्क्टिक प्रियॉन्स एंड व्हाइट हेडेड पेट्रल्स, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला, इनकी लाइफ बेहतर हो रही है थैंक्स टू एक्स वाई जेड व्हाटएवर। So then this option becomes liable for rejection because in a summary question we generally do not go for specific mention, specific examples like this। ठीक है, so this is just a brief suggestion from my end। Let's go back to the paragraph। So what had happened actually? So first of all, the good news is that this birds which survived somehow on the island, until recently they were under threat, but they survived somehow, and right now the position is that their numbers are now increasing। Always a good idea। Okay, species, different animals and birds should not go extinct। What's happening now? As the birds are increasing in number, they are returning back to the island, they are now pooping here and there, their poops helps the plants to grow, fertilizes the soil। So it's a very very positive symbiotic circle, symbiotic ecosystem that is going on, that thanks to birds, soil gets nourished, more and more plants, helping birds protect themselves from different predators। So all in all, बढ़िया लग रहा है। It seems that this ecosystem which was under threat till recently, it has made a very good comeback। ठीक है, and it's not just restricted to the birds, it's also about some plants, uh, name given here, the orchids and tiny herb, that had been protected by fencing until recently। Oh my god, okay, so seems like the ecosystem, the life of certain plants and animals on this island was under a lot of threat, that you had to actually go ahead and protect some plants by actually fencing। ठीक है, like a nursery of sorts। होती है ना gardens का, gardens होते हैं, plants की nurseries होती है, where certain plants are protected from invasion, from getting completely lost। ठीक है, so from this, which option can we go ahead? Obviously we need an option which is very 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 positive in impact। ठीक है, because the paragraph is giving us some very positive story। ठीक है, obviously answer A does not fit the bill because it is saying increase number of predatory birds and plants। No, 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 even though there are some predatory birds, the native birds, the native plants, they are making a very strong comeback। ठीक है, so A is completely out of the game। B, flowering plants, herbs, birds are now being protected on this wonderful Antarctic island। This is very half-baked of sorts। ठीक है, मतलब ऐसा मजा नहीं आ रहा है, something like that। ठीक है, so we'll hold it, let's see what other options have to serve before us। Third, there is a huge positive transformation। Yeah, I like this word, very good। of the ecosystem on the island when brought under environmental protection. Yes, yes, yes. I also agree with this part because especially it is given here that here boss you had to actually protect certain plants by fencing. Certain birds somehow some survived on their own, and now thankfully the ecosystem has made a comeback. So I agree with option C. Compared to B, the third option is amazing, much better. So on a comparative basis, I would like to dump B, go ahead with C. But anyway, let's analyze what is given in the last option. In the absence of pests, a little red flag for me here. Why? I'll get back to it in a moment. Life on the island is now protected. There has been a revival of a variety of birds and plants. Second half of the option, from life to plants, it's perfect. Word to word, not a single problem at all. I have a little bit of problem with this. Absence of pests. So this guarantees कि जो pests है जो पहले दुश्मन बन के बैठे थे कुछ birds और animals के ये गायब हो चुके हैं. Now tell me, after reading the paragraph, can you say this with a lot of assurance कि गायब हो गए सर, जो भी थे ना dangerous animals, predators, pests, वो अब गायब हो चुके हैं, so that native birds, native animals can now survive very well? Nowhere given. Okay, what we only know is that there was once upon a time that pests were on the island. In spite of that, certain birds survived. Now their numbers are increasing. किसके? ये underlined Antarctic prions and white-headed petrels के. Okay, please do not confuse this highlighted green sentence with pests. Basic grammar over here. It is possible that certain people might have gotten confused with this. So just to dispel that confusion, please do not think कि pests का number अब बढ़ रहा है. Absolutely not. ठीक है? But that also does not mean कि हम guarantee से बोल सके that boss absence of pests गायब हो गए भाई completely. So this is a problematic for me, and that is why I'm C and D. I would go with C, but as is the case, unfortunately, option D is given as the correct answer in the answer key, which I am still not convinced about. ठीक है? And चलो एक बार का मान लिया option D अगर आप सही आंसर मार्क करते हो तो कहीं ना कहीं you have to be able to explain that third option is wrong in some manner. Like we have been able to reject option A and B because of certain explanation, proper reasons. Even if you go ahead and mark D as the answer, my entire question remains कि C में क्या गलती है, C में क्या problem हो, ठीक है? तो कहीं ना कहीं my doubt, confusion remains. I do not like to shove the answer down anybody's throat, so that's why I'm being clearly honest with you guys. ठीक है? तो चलो, I hope that this paragraph is clear to you. Let's move on to the next question category, parajumble questions. For a lot of time now, parajumble questions in the exam have been coming as 4 sentences given to you in a jumbled fashion. These questions are what we call as theta type in the answer, wherein you have to simply enter the correct sequence, 4-digit number you have to enter properly. And if you get it right, it's +3. But if you go wrong, there's no negative marking, only 0. So because of this, parajumble questions actually become a very major attraction for a lot of aspirants. I have been, ambiguous about this +3 0 and the payoff which comes in parajumble questions. Traditionally, I've not been a big fan of this question category. However, if we take a look at this lot के particular दो parajumble questions, very low hanging fruit, amazing chance to grab +3 6 marks very easily without a lot of trouble, without a lot of time also getting invested. So this is one of those rare situations where my reservations against parajumble, they fall flat on my on their face. And you know that is why I've stopped telling people कि parajumble mat karo bilkul bhi. In fact, even if you are not a big fan of parajumble, make sure that you at least go through them in the exam. Sometimes they come out to be so ridiculously simple कि later on you will end up just regretting कि क्यों छोड़ा. ठीक है? So please attempt this. ठीक है? I'll show you the answer in a moment after discussing the logic over here. Now the logic, the story that goes around here is simply ये कि देखो यार मतलब once upon a time memorization and listening के दम के ऊपर में we used to pass on knowledge, memorization and listening. ठीक है? There weren't a lot of books to read from and all, but thanks to printing press का invention, we could start printing books, and thanks to books, listening and memorization as a way of learning, it went down in you know in practice. And what came up, what started flourishing is reading. ठीक है? रीड करो, उसमें से आप सीखो, उसमें से पढ़ो. So what is the major contrast? as explained by the fourth sentence over here, that earlier for listening, for memorization, you needed a teacher, right? Else how will you learn? But now, thanks to printing press, you can just get access to a book and learn in the absence of a mentor. Earlier you needed a mentor, but no longer required the presence of a mentor. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Now, did this transition happen immediately? Okay, no, not really. The transformation of learners from listeners to readers did not happen overnight. It was a complex process. Okay, and thanks to it, over a lot of time, over centuries, as it took root and became a fixed norm in the society, we have now the concept of universal literacy. ठीक है, सब लोग पढ़ लिख सकते हैं because knowledge is so easily available in the form of books. Earlier you needed access to a mentor, no longer. And another amazing thing to take a note at, that centuries later, formal learning is still based on reading, even though we have amazing new technology on our hand, such as film, radio, internet, reels, and whatnot. Okay? So the sequence here is very, very straightforward, and this is how we should go about it. I'm very sure that most of you must have been able to get this answer right. One of those rare situations जहाँ पे बहुत smooth तरीके से एक particular sequence is undoubtedly the answer, and most of the people are able to figure it out. ठीक है, 2 4 3 1. No doubts about this sequence. It is perfectly logical. Any other answer that you make, I'm very sure कहीं ना कहीं logical flaw रहेगा. It is not possible for me to touch upon each of the remaining possible sequences, so I'll desist from it. ठीक है. Let's still, if you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Second parajumble question, please pause the video here, solve it on your own. Now coming to the explanation, very easy, very easy. At least the opening statement, the first pair is 3 1, because in the third sentence what we are given is that देखो e-waste इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वेस्ट, इसके अंदर ढेर सारे कुछ कुछ ऐसे पार्ट्स, कंपोनेंट्स, केमिकल्स, कंपाउंड्स है जिससे बहुत दिक्कत हो सकती है. दे कैन नॉट बी इजीली रिसाइकल. सो दिस इज अ मेजर प्रॉब्लम. करंटली इनफ टेक्नोलॉजी हमारे पास में नहीं है. श्योर वी कैन गो ahead and retrieve them and recycle them, but practically this is not very much doable right now. So regarding this problem, we have an Indian woman, seems like a woman of Indian origin, but she is based in New South Wales. She has a solution to the problem. Okay. So sentence 3 and 1 lays out the problem before you very well, very crisply defined. And sentence 2 and 4, now let's discuss what sequence they should be in. But anyway, 2 and 4 discuss the solution to the problem. Okay. Now, for an amateur aspirant, you might be confused between 3124 या 3142. ठीक है, because surface level पे both sequence make sense, they look good, but if you dive into the details, if you go into the details, there is one particular reason why one sequence is right and the other wrong, and the answer, the correct sequence here has to be 3142. Why so? Why not 24? Why only am I going with 4 and then 2? So the devil lies in the details, as they say. The answer is, look, इन सेंटेंस 4 शी इज सेइंग कि देखो यार, मैं जो भी आप इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वेस्ट होगा ना, आपका मोबाइल हुआ, कंप्यूटर हुआ, मॉनिटर है, वगैरह वगैरह, आई एम गोइंग टू पिक इट अपार्ट, आई एम गोइंग टू टीज अपार्ट द कंपोनेंट्स फर्स्ट, and after they have been dismantled, after the parts are taken apart, then my drones and robots are going to come in the picture. They're going to pick up the components, put them in a surface, and then start the recycling process. So obviously, logically, if you follow, you have to take the waste first, you have to break down the discarded electronic item into separate components. Imagine you are discarding a laptop, so obviously the keyboard has to go separate, motherboard separate, screen separate, and then one by one everybody's every part's recycling process will be different, right? So that is why 4 and 2 and not 2 4, although on upon first reading 2 4 might also look okay. Okay, so this is the sequence for your benefit, which I'm showing on the screen right now. All right, I hope there is no doubt about it. But just in case you are somebody who made up 3124, तो दिल छोटा मत करो, होता है, सिली मिस्टेक हो गया. नेक्स्ट टाइम मेक श्योर दैट यू रीड थोड़ा सा और टाइम और ध्यान लगा. ठीक है, अच्छा क्वेश्चन लगा मुझे ये, वेरी वेरी स्मॉल लिटिल डिटेल, so that people can get trapped into 4 या 4-2. Compared to the previous one, slightly difficult, but very much doable. Parajumbles in CAT exam can be very tricky or can be very debatable answers also. But as far as CAT 2023 was concerned, I don't know how this happened, but all Parajumble questions largely were very doable, very reasonable. One particular sequence can be easily justified कि हाँ यार देखो ये आंसर है. Very rarely it happens कि इतने clear, इतने सुलझे हुए आंसर हमको मिल जाए. Sometimes they leave situations very, dangling type. ठीक है, चल, let's go ahead. Odd one out question. Till the moment I solved this slot के question, I used to hate odd one out. I still do largely. ठीक है, because of the arbitrariness that is involved a lot of times. These questions are also theta, so there is obviously no negative marking. Let's jump in and see what the questions are. Please solve it on your own end. The answer is actually very, very clear. The four sentences that fit together in the paragraph are sentence 1, 3, 4, and 5. Why? Because they're specifically talking about a particular language. In the Andaman Nicobar, there seems to be some tribe, उनका एक particular language होगा by the name of Wo, I think. And the native speakers of that language, they are no more. The tribe is extinct and the language is also extinct. So obviously, what would be the odd one out question, odd one out sentence here would be second sentence. Why so? Because first of all, it is not talking about any language at all. It is talking about a tribe getting extinct or dwindling in number. Secondly, if you are a grammar Nazi and if you have a very sharp eye for detail, the problem lies with the usage of word has. Okay? The indigenous population has been steadily collapsing since the island chain. Are we talking about the entire population in the island chain of Andaman Nicobar? Not really. What we are simply talking about is one particular tribe, and that tribe is already extinct हो चुका है. So what the sentence should have used ideally is had been, but they are saying कि has been steadily collapsing. Grammar का usage है यहाँ पे, grammar का incorrect usage over here. So for grammar fanatics like me, another reason to be sure that sentence 2 is the odd one out. Okay. Still, if you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. But please mention the timestamps. Okay. Without it, it becomes a massive headache for me. Coming to this part, coming to the next question now. This is also very doable, very, very easy like the previous one. Sentence once again, 1, 3, 4, and 5. They are talking about soft skills, hard skills, soft skill, hard skill. That post pandemic there has been certain emphasis by companies कि भाई एम्प्लॉइज आप लोग ना यार सॉफ्ट स्किल दिखाओ, थोड़ा थोड़ा लीडरशिप दिखाओ, थोड़ा कम्युनिकेशन अच्छा दिखाओ, लोगों के साथ काम करने की आप लाइक ही दिखाइए प्लीज. ओके, it's not good that you are very good at the job that you do. You should be able to do that job amazingly with other people. Okay, so 1, 3, 4, 5 in particular sequence, in some particular sequence fit together well. Sentence 2 has to be once again kicked out of the group, because here we are talking about perfect candidate, not so perfect candidate, compromise कर लिया वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. So regarding that, companies का क्या thought process है? Earlier they wanted that one single amazing employee, but now they are being realistic, saying कि नहीं चलो ठीक है, everybody has their pros and cons. So it's a different discussion altogether. It's not talking about skills at all. So once again, very easy to pick apart the odd one here. So as you guys could see, the sheer pace that we solved all the 6 questions till now, especially the parajumbles and the odd one out. Okay, so whoever figured this 4 questions out in the exam, यार मतलब उसके नसीब चमक गए, honestly speaking. 4 questions with very small chance of getting the answer wrong. 4 3 are 12 marks, man. Come on. And the yield in what, 5 minutes, 6 minutes? Seriously? Are you kidding me? RC passages have a worse uh, ratio. Okay, worse payoff actually. Okay. Coming to the fill the blank questions, I know I shouldn't be labeling it as such a lame category. What here you are required to do is, if you are somebody very new and don't know what this question category is, this question category was introduced in CAT 2022. It was a surprise all of a sudden. In 2023, it was still present, and I hope that 24 and 25 आगे के future CAT में भी शायद रह सकता है. You are given a paragraph which has 4 blanks. Then you are given a sentence. The sentence fits in one of these 4 blanks suitably, and then you can read the entire paragraph from start till end, and then it will make sense. ये आपका काम है कि ये sentence सही से कहाँ हम रखें ताकि the paragraph feels complete, there is no break in between, and the job is well done. ठीक. So यहाँ पर you have to apply simultaneously a lot of different concepts so that you are able to arrive at the right answer. You have to read the paragraph also properly. You have to read the sentence, understand दोनों का meaning, टॉपिक ऑफ डिस्कशन क्या है वो फिगर आउट करो. देन एट द सेम टाइम यू हैव टू टेक इनटू अकाउंट थोड़ा ग्रामर ऑल्सो, कि अरे सेंटेंस का टेंस क्या है, पैराग्राफ में क्या चल रहा है, किधर कौन सी बात चल रही है, इज इट पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव, सेंटेंस इज इट पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. अ लॉट ऑफ कंसेप्ट, simultaneous application. So that is why certain people find this question category as challenging. ठीक है, but let's try to break this question down. अच्छे क्वेश्चन थे, वेरी गुड क्वालिटी, गधे घोड़ों को सेपरेट कर दे, इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस थे, फिल द ब्लैंक वाले. ठीक है. By the way, this question category does not appear as theta question in the exam. In the exam, you have options over here, and the options are very straightforward. Actually, you simply have A blank one, you have option B blank three, so on and so forth. So obviously, there is a negative marking here, but to save space and to leave some vacant space for me to do the work, I have not given the options over here. Please note once again that these do carry negative marking. So attempt this question in the exam at your own risk. चैलेंजिंग है. ओके, तो अब देखते हैं. सेंटेंस पहले हम एनालाइज करेंगे. विल ट्राई टू टेक अ लुक एट इट स्ट्रक्चर प्रॉपर्ली एंड सी वेदर वी कैन सी सम हिंट इन द पैसेज. द सेंटेंस इज कि थियरी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू आप देख लो पहले. बहुत अच्छा कनेक्टर वर्ड मिल चुका है. थियरी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू आर्ग्यूमेंट्स को हम कैसा पढ़ाई कर सकते हैं, कैसे समझ सकते हैं. So whenever I am saying that for theoretical purpose or theoretically, so I say this or we say this specifically when the discussion also has practical aspect also discussed. कि हाँ प्रैक्टिकली तो कुछ और तरीके से शायद काम हो सकता है, लेकिन theoretically ना ये बहुत इस तरीके से आप यूज कर सकते हो. तो टू शो कॉन्ट्रास्ट बिटवीन theory एंड एक्चुअल रियल लाइफ प्रैक्टिस, वी स्टार्ट ऑफ अ सेंटेंस लाइक दिस. ठीक है, तो कहीं ना कहीं दिस सेंटेंस वुड गो रियली वेल इन अ प्लेस which goes on to discuss actual daily life practical steps or some discussion about practical deployment of whatever we are discussing. ठीक है. Now when you read the paragraph, one thing becomes very clear that the discussion is about argument. Now please keep in mind, argument मतलब जो हम झगड़ा कर लेते हैं किसी के साथ में, वो नहीं. Argument actually it means that the author, the speaker wants to convince his audience about something. तो वो कुछ अपना कोई ओपिनियन देता है, और उस ओपिनियन को कन्विंस करने के लिए जनता के मन में, ऑडियंस के मन में, he gives a lot of supporting reasons behind it which are called as premise. ठीक है, or the premises. ठीक है. So the entire paragraph is just trying to explain what an argument is. An argument is simply opinion backed by some really good explanation, really good reasons. That's it. ठीक है. Now the sentence, coming back to the meaning of the sentence, sentence क्या कहता है कि जो ये इस तरीके के आर्ग्यूमेंट्स होते हैं, वेयर वी वांट टू कन्विंस पीपल अबाउट समथिंग, हम इनको इंडिपेंडेंटली एनालाइज कर सकते हैं, इंडिपेंडेंटली स्टडी कर सकते हैं, बाय रिमूविंग देम. एब्स्ट्रैक्ट करना मतलब निकालना, रिमूव करना. कहां से रिमूव करें भाई? बाय रिमूविंग देम फ्रॉम एक्चुअल यूज इन एक्चुअल ह्यूमन एक्टिविटीज. सो देखा आपने कि आप प्रैक्टिकल डेली लाइफ वाले चीजों में से आर्ग्यूमेंट्स को निकालो, उनको इंडिपेंडेंटली स्टैंड अलोन तरीके से एनालाइज करो, पढ़ाई करो, किया जा सकता है. दिस इज द सेंटेंस व्हाट इट इज टॉकिंग. ओके, so very clear, very obviously, you will not start the paragraph with this sentence, na, given sentence. It will not go in blank one. Otherwise, it will be like, wait, what are we talking about? Theoretical purpose argument. Suddenly, अरे भाई explain तो करो argument क्या होता है. So that is why we start off the paragraph with this part only, which is highlighted in green. An argument can be defined and then it goes on and on and on and on. Definitely, you would not want to put it in second blank. क्योंकि from this part, an argument से लेकर assertable, this word till this part, the entire paragraph in this entire part, which I obviously I will not be able to highlight completely, the write up, the structure, the sentences, आप बीच में कुछ भी मस्ती नहीं कर सकते. You cannot insert anything in between. Amazingly well written part. So the only options that you have is blank number 3 and blank number 4. 1 पे definitely रखा नहीं जा सकता. 2 में if you try to put, it will create a strong disconnect in the entire narrative. तो अब बात आती है 3 में रखे या 4 में. Okay, cool. Now, very beautiful hint dropped by the question setter here before us by the usage of but. Beautiful. I love but yet however. What do they show? They show contrast. अगर पहले कोई sentence है, let us say sentence A, then you have but and then you have sentence B like this. So what is the purpose of this but? What does this but do? It helps you understand that boss sentence A और sentence B एक दूसरे के जानी दुश्मन है, opposite है, contrast है, and I'm able trying to connect the two by using but. ठीक है? So the moment I write but here, so you should read what this last sentence which I'm underlining in green. What does it mean? So it says कि भाई देखो, depending on your goal, आपका बहुत फायदा होगा क्या करे तो if you are able to read, if you are able to understand arguments the way they actually take place in daily human life. Oh my god, doesn't this feel very close to home? ये सेंटेंस कह रहा है कि नहीं नहीं, आप डेली लाइफ में जिस तरीके से आर्गुमेंट यूज होते हैं ना, आप उसको पूरे कॉन्टेक्स्ट के साथ ही समझ के चलो, आपका फायदा होगा। इसका एग्जैक्ट अपोजिट तो ये सेंटेंस कह रहा है कि नहीं नहीं, थ्योरी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ना आप क्या करो, जो एक्चुअल एक्टिविटीज में आर्ग्यूमेंट यूज की जाती है ना डेली लाइफ में, ह्यूमन लाइफ में, उसमें से निकालो और आर्ग्यूमेंट को स्टैंड अलोन इंडिपेंडेंट एंटिटी की तरह पढ़ाई करो। व्हाट दिस सेंटेंस एंड दिस बट, दिस ग्रीन अंडरलाइन वन, दे आर एब्सोल्युटली कॉन्ट्रास्ट विद ईच अदर। 100% गारंटी के साथ हम कह सकते हैं that the answer has to be sentence sorry blank number 3, blank 3 is your answer। ठीक है? Obviously I cannot give I am not sure whether my explanation for this question was uh, very logical or very you could connect to it or you could relate to it. This is actually a very this is a tricky part about this question category, that even as a tutor sometimes it becomes hard for us to justify कि कहाँ पर sentence ठीक बैठेगा। We can go ahead and frame, even explain parajumbles and odd one out properly based on some logic। यहाँ पर जो एक certain amount of arbitrariness है and the taste, the preference, the level of language one has, अपनी language ability आपकी कितनी अच्छी है, उस पर से ये बहुत ज़्यादा rely करता है। So if you're somebody who is traditionally not good in VRC, if it is your very weak section, okay, you struggle to put together the meaning of sentences, you're somebody who struggles to understand what the entire RC passage means in spite of a lot of practice. So it is very natural that you will find fill the blank question challenging. काफी ज़्यादा chances है. So keep this thing in mind. And why am I emphasizing on this so much? Because this question has negative marking. Okay? So for you guys, if you fall in this particular category, strongly recommend that you focus your efforts on Parajumble and odd one out. At least the negative marking is not prominent there. Okay, let's go ahead. Last question now. Okay. What does this sentence and the paragraph say? The discussion in the paragraph as well as in the state, we are talking about, extrajudicial force or unauthorized force, non-government force we are talking about. So what does this mean कि सरकार के अलावा कौन force use कर रहा है? तो force meaning we are talking about terrorists, we are talking about militants, we are talking about criminals over here। ठीक है? कि authority बंदूक गन जंग छेड़ने की, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट करने की सिर्फ सरकार को होती है यार। सरकार की पुलिस, सरकार का मिलिट्री, ऑल दीज ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस कैन यूज फोर्स। terrorists, criminals, average common citizen, they cannot pick up a gun and use it for their purposes। Okay, so all of that usage would get qualified as non-government force। We are discussing the impact of such usage in society of such extra government non-government authorized use of force। तो होता क्या है इससे? such kind of activities wherein you have बंदूकों की स्मगलिंग, आर्म्स का स्मगलिंग, unauthorized gangs, terrorists using their force to achieve whatever they want। तो द सेंटेंस इज सेइंग कि जब भी ऐसे यूज करते हैं टेररिस्ट, क्रिमिनल्स, हथियार यूज करते हैं, फोर्स यूज करते हैं, तो दे आर नॉट ओनली अंडरमाइनिंग द मोनोपोली ऑफ द स्टेट। ठीक है? स्टेट हियर मींस गवर्नमेंट, कि आप गवर्नमेंट की मोनोपोली, गवर्नमेंट का जो ताकत है, आप उसको भी नीचा दिखा रहे हो। साथ ही साथ आर्म्ड कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, ऐसे झगड़े, दे क्रिएट एन एनवायरमेंट फॉर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड क्राइम टू प्रॉस्पर। वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लिंकेज, प्लीज पे अटेंशन। ऑर्गेनाइज्ड क्राइम, माफिया। ठीक है? पीपल हु आर कैरिंग आउट इलीगल एक्टिविटीज इन अ वेरी सिंक्रोनाइज्ड, प्रॉपर ऑर्गेनाइज तरीके से। ऐसा नहीं है कि सम रैंडम चोर गेटिंग अप वन डे डिसाइडिंग कि चल आज मैं यहाँ पे चोरी कर लेता हूँ। नो, एंटायर सिस्टम इज सेटअप इन सच अ वे कि एक के बाद एक क्रिमिनल एक्टिविटीज होती रहे, एंड देयर सिस्टम इज सो परफेक्ट दैट इवन द गवर्नमेंट can't touch them a lot of times। They are so powerful। So mafia, organized crime. So what the क्वेश्चन सेंटेंस वांट्स यू टू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम इट इज कि देखो अनऑथराइज यूज ऑफ फोर्स की वजह से सिर्फ झगड़ा तो होता ही है समाज में, सरकार को भी नीचा दिखाया जाता है, उसकी पावर की धज्जियां उड़ाई जा रही है। साथ ही साथ यू आर एम्बोल्डनिंग द माफिया, यू आर अलाउइंग द माफिया टू प्रॉस्पर। व्हाट डू वी मीन बाय प्रॉस्पर? दे आर मेकिंग मनी मैन, शो मी द मनी, शो मी द मनी। ठीक है, so because of this reason my strong belief is that this sentence should go and fit in sentence blank number 2. Why? Because we are ending the question sentence prosper, and immediately after blank 2 we have financial gains from crime. I found it very good linkage, एक अच्छा carry forward है उसी same idea का. And preceding sentence before to what we are having is eroding governance, undermining monopoly of state. These two ideas also, I think in my view very beautifully they connect with each other. So it's like कि इधर भी बहुत अच्छा कनेक्ट और उधर भी बहुत अच्छा कनेक्ट मिल गया, लिंक जो एक मिलनी चाहिए सेंटेंस को बीच में रखते हुए। बिफोर टू जो पहला यहाँ पे सेंटेंस है, इट इज एंडिंग विद एरोडिंग गवर्नेंस, गवर्नमेंट का मोनोपोली, उसको तो आपने नीचे दिखाई दिया। साथ ही साथ यू आर हेल्पिंग ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम टू प्रॉस्पर फाइनेंशियल गेन्स फ्रॉम क्राइम। बट नसीब फूटे हुए है बॉस, नसीब फूटे हुए है। आंसर ऑप्शन गिवन इज 3। ओह सॉरी, माय बैड। Why in God's name, I don't know. And I've been giving it a lot of thought, and I still cannot bring myself anyway in justifying third. Still very sure that blank 2 is a better fit. You may choose to agree or disagree with me. Doesn't make any difference because exam setter ने कर दिया, exam भी खत्म हो गया. So no point, debating with your friend or your circle about it. My job is to simply lay out कि देखो, verbal ability is always going to have a certain amount of subjectivity, certain amount of arbitrariness to it. ठीक है, तो make sure that you're not lost in justifying the answer in some way or the other. Some days you are going to succeed, some days you are going to fail, and when you fail, when you are stuck with the wrong answer, you might still feel कि नहीं मेरा आंसर सही है, given official answer से I do not agree, and it is okay, it's okay. ठीक है, जंग मत लड़िए, खुद का कॉन्फिडेंस मत होने दीजिए। ठीक है, all right, so I hope that you like the video. Please like, share and subscribe. You can go ahead and check the rest of the videos on my channel. I've made really good playlists for RC99 and previous CAT papers also. I'm adding to those playlists. Obviously they are not complete as of this moment. If you're looking for really good coaching for CAT VRC, reach out to me on this website or this mail ID or on my contact number, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, tada, bye bye and take care. Thanks.